let's talk about one of the most foundational commands in all of Christianity, the Great Commission. Now, most of us hear that and we think, go get people saved. Simple enough, right? But what if I told you that our common understanding of this command might just be the very source of a deep, painful struggle for millions of believers? Have you ever felt this painful contradiction? You love God, you know you've been saved, but you still feel trapped by the same old habits, the same cycles, the same feelings of defeat. It's so frustrating, and it can feel really isolating. But we're about to see it's actually incredibly common. And the reason why? Well, it boils down to this simple but kind of profound paradox. On the one hand, you know you've been forgiven. You stand on that promise 100%. But what if you were never actually trained on how to live out that forgiveness? How to walk in victory? Well, that disconnect, it leads to an even more intense contradiction.
You believe your eternity is secure? You are saved. That's the truth.
And yet, day to day, you feel completely enslaved to the very things you were saved from. Now listen, this isn't just some personal failure on your part. It's a systemic one, and it's rooted in a great misunderstanding.
You see, that feeling of being saved, but still enslaved, isn't an accident. The whole idea we're digging into today is that it's a direct result of how the modern church has misread and misapplied Jesus' final instruction. We've focused all our energy on one part of the mission while almost completely ignoring the other.
Okay, this slide breaks it down perfectly. Just look at the two different models here. On one side, you've got the modern church's focus, making converts. It's all about getting decisions, filling up the buildings, and giving people a new identity. But look at what Jesus actually commanded, making disciples. That is a whole different ballgame. It's a process focused on obedience, on creating believers who are actually trained, who experience grace with training. And this quote right here just nails the consequence of that shift. We give people a new identity in Christ, but no instruction manual on how to live it out. We give them a place to belong, but no discipline to help them actually grow. We preach this powerful grace, but it's a grace without the training that turns it into real-world power over sin.
There's actually a name for this: discipleship negligence. Think about that. It's the failure to follow through. It's like we celebrate a spiritual birth, and then we just abandon the newborn, leaving them spiritually orphaned and totally vulnerable. The weight of that is just staggering. Imagine having a child and then just leaving them, never teaching them how to walk, how to talk, how to feed themselves, and then getting frustrated when they can't figure it out. That's the exact picture of what happens when we prioritize conversion way above discipleship.
So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? We have to go back to the source code itself. We need to look at what Jesus actually commanded in Matthew 28. And man, when you lay it out like this, it's so clear. Jesus gives a two-part command. Step 1 is bringing people into the family of God. And the church is great at this part. But step 2 is just as crucial. Teaching them to obey everything I have commanded. That's the part we so often miss. So here's the crucial point. We've treated salvation like it's the finish line. We celebrate like crazy as people cross it. But Jesus intended it to be the starting line of a whole new life, a whole new way of living that has to be learned. And that's the absolute key. This new life of freedom and obedience, it isn't automatic. It doesn't just download into your brain the moment you pray a prayer. It's a skill. It's a discipline. It has to be learned. Now get ready, because this might be one of the most shocking truths in the Bible for a lot of people. It says that even Jesus, the perfect, sinless Son of God, learned obedience. Let that sink in for a second. If he had to learn it, why on earth would we think it would just come naturally to us? It proves obedience isn't an instinct, it's an education. Which brings us to a really uncomfortable but necessary question. If this is the second half of the Great Commission, if it's the key to living in freedom, why do we so often avoid teaching it?
Well, there is some difficult truths here. For starters, many leaders can't teach what they never learned themselves. I mean, you can't give away what you don't have. And let's be real, teaching obedience can sound uncomfortable. It requires discipline, not just feel-good inspiration. So what's the result? The sermons stay motivational, sin stays unnamed, and disciples, well, they stay weak.
But there is a path forward. The answer isn't some new, slick program. The path to true freedom is a return to the full original commission that Jesus gave us.
It's a shift from being content with just belief
to embracing the absolute necessity of training.
It's moving beyond a gospel that stops at the good news of forgiveness
And stepping into the reality that freedom is only found through learned obedience. Let this sink in for a second. Jesus didn't fail. His power is enough. The problem isn't with his plan. It's that the church has drifted from his method. The solution is to return. At the end of the day, it all comes down to these 4 words. This is the missing half of the mission. This is the key to seeing believers walk in the freedom they were promised. So the final question is, what would happen if we finally took this command as seriously as the first? Teach them to obey.